Hello. What's up? Today we're going to go over how to draw Godzilla's face from the kind of old school Godzilla. Um, more like I'm thinking Godzilla from the I would say 70s, 80s, things of that sort. More like the 80s actually. The 70s one looked totally like a Muppet. The 80s one was starting to change it up a little bit. Not the new one so much. At the big neck. And then we're going to go over the body in the next video. But I want to talk a little bit about the face. I'd heard different things about what the original face was modified from, kind of modified after. And I know I keep hearing the word dog come up. They would use a dog as a kind of a reference point to throw in aspects of a dog in there. I think a bulldog or something like that. And I think the Godzilla from what's that redesign that everybody hated from 1997. That one was modified after I think a crocodile or something like that. They used tougher animals. I actually like the new design, but it wasn't very Godzilla-y, And the very, very new one, I'm not really sure how they went about doing that one. It looks like a modified version of this old one. It looked a lot closer. So right now, I'm making sure his neck is big because it kind of goes down to this big, teardrop shaped body, right? So his neck is going to just taper outward, And his eyes, he has kind of that mean mug look to his face. I'm just trying to find proportions, right now. I'm trying to really dig for that. His nostrils are out front. You can very much tell. It's like when you're drawing it, it's very obvious it was modeled after some kind of animal, like a dog or maybe a lion or something. And the teeth are out front. Teeth are the top. His eyeballs in there, and it has a lot of texture all over him. So let me get into the line art of him, and then after we get into the line art, we'll talk a little about the texture. Let me sharpen my pencil real quick. Tends to make an angry look. So first thing I'm going to go after is this angry thing going on his huge brow. If you kind of squint your eyes, he's going to make kind of a triangle shape in the dark, even though his eyes there will kind of create this kind of almost cavern, almost skull kind of look. He tends to have a lot of muscles on his face over here, really muscular face. But let me go back to the eyebrows here. Throwing in some value as I'm drawing this. And it's going alright. He's got some kind of rivets on his head. Some designs, there's so many different designs of him. They're so subtly different. I kind of like those rivets, A lot of it's going to be deciding which look I like from the old school version. And I'm going to try to match that eye on the other side. And far side of his face. I'll go at his nose a little bit. And he's got kind of like I said, it's kind of bubbly, his face. It's odd that he looks so mean sometimes, but it's also kind of understandable that people like him. You know, he's like a good guy in some movies and a bad guy in some movies, but you know, he's always scary because he's gigantic. But he's got kind of a round face, which lends to this kind of friendliness look to him, which I think is probably on purpose. I'm sure, and use him as either or. That's the die in a lot of movies too. He like jumps in a volcano or something. Usually, he just kind of goes off into sea. Out as far side of the face, kind of roundish as well. Around here, got an angry mouth. Got big cheeks, kind of. So I'm gonna think about that as I shape that area. I'm gonna throw some value over here. The front of his face changes planes, so there's gonna be kind of value across the front side of his snout there. Make him look less like a dog. On the outside of his eyes, has some rivets here. Does have that large rivet on the side. He has kind of a roundness to the front of his snout here. Like I talked about the other rounds around his face, but kind of he does kind of have this bridge of the nose here, kind of almost. So I have to take that into account when I'm thinking about that. You can put smaller details, like you can start putting small scales, showing them in some areas, you know, only so that it's clear what kind of surface this is. Let's go down to his teeth. I'm making his teeth a little bit longer so they stand out a little bit more. Make him look a little bit more menacing than he was looking. He was looking super nice there. Gotta make him look mean. Spacing them out, not super evenly, but even enough. You know, it's better if they're not even sometimes, to be honest, so they look more natural. Go back to the eyes real quick. Go to the mouth, the inside mouth next to the tongue right there. And I'm going to take care of the bottom teeth. I'm going to fill in the part where his tongue is going to be here. Not super hard, but I'm just going to fill that in because it would be in shadow. I might set it to be a little bit darker so it pulls the teeth forward a little bit. A little bit of shadow throughout the whole thing. Trying to clean shapes up, and you're trying to make shapes kind of stand out from each other. You know, that's the biggest thing. You gotta make shapes kind of They have to be obvious what they are in a way. Shadow under his neck. It's causing a shadow on this side of his face. One thing about him is, since he's green, he might have a value to him. You know, what you can do is you can kind of slightly, with the side of your pencil, shade him entirely in, like every surface on him, just a little bit here. It's going to give him value, so it looks like he has a value as opposed to being totally white. You know what I mean? Completely white. And then to differentiate that, you can kind of start darkening other shapes, specifically his eyes here, around his eyes.